She's much more experienced than I am. I don't think it was an easy win for her, so it's very difficult.
On Saturday, May 23rd, 2026, Alex Eala turns 21 in Paris. On Sunday, May 24th, Roland Garros opens its gates, and her name is already on the main draw board. Not as a wild card, not as a qualifier who fought through 5 rounds just to belong, as a top 40 player who earned that spot with her ranking, her results, and 11 months of work since the last time she stood at this crossroads, and it broke her heart.
She is the best tennis player and the best athlete that I have seen in the game of tennis.
Chris Evert, 7 French Open titles, more than any woman in the Open era, has already spent over a year trying to find the right words for what Alex Eala is doing to this sport. The tennis world is running out of language because the calendar just wrote a script that nobody in the sport saw coming, and the girl from the Philippines is the only one who showed up ready to live it. 12 months ago, at her 2025 French Open debut, Eala lost in the first round to Emiliana Arango, 2 days after turning 20. The birthday into Grand Slam combination went sideways, and the doubters noted it. This year, she arrives with a live ranking of number 38, a career high of number 29 earned just 2 months ago in March, and something she did not have in 2025. Rafael Nadal himself, 14. Roland Garros titles, the most in history, giving her frequent advice at the Rafa Nadal Academy, specifically confirmed by Eala during her Tennis Channel sit-down at the Rome 2026 tournament. The redemption arc is no longer a storyline. It is a departure time. Here is what makes this story something rarer than a feel-good birthday post. The calendar does not care about feelings, and neither does the draw. Roland Garros has ended careers and exposed weaknesses in players far more decorated than a 21-year-old from Manila. And in 2026, Eala walks in carrying 3 specific pieces of luggage that the doubters have been cataloging all clay season. Her clay court results this spring: an early exit at WTA 125 Euros, a second-round loss at the Madrid Open to Elise Mertens, and a third-round defeat in Rome to world number 2 Elena Rybakina, gave the skeptics their ammunition. Brad Gilbert, the coaching legend who once guided Andre Agassi to a career revival, reportedly stated after Eala's Miami 2026 round of 16 loss to Karolina Muchova that she needs to dramatically improve. That is not a throwaway comment. Gilbert has spent 3 decades identifying the difference between players who belong at the top and players who hover at the edge of it. And then there is the ghost that does not need introduction, the version of Eala who celebrated her 20th birthday in Paris and then walked off the court in tears after a first-round exit. The exact same setup, the exact same calendar. A year older, but the question is the same. Is this the year the birthday turns from a distraction into a launch pad? Start with the fact that the calendar itself is the most powerful argument in Eala's favor, not because destiny is real, but because the math is. May 23rd, 2005. That is Alexandra Eala's date of birth, confirmed across every official record from the WTA to the ITF. May 24th, 2026. That is the date Roland Garros 2026 opens its main draw, confirmed on the tournament's official tentative schedule. The gap between those 2 dates is less than 18 hours. There is no schedule adjustment, no logistical workaround, no way to make the birthday arrive any later or Roland Garros begin any earlier. The universe set this date, and Eala did not flinch. Now consider what it took to even be standing at that starting line. 1 year ago, Eala entered the 2025 French Open on a wildcard, an invitation extended partly on promise, partly on trajectory. This year, the WTA rankings carried her through the door on merit alone. Her career high of number 29, reached in March 2026, placed her firmly in direct main draw territory. Her current number 42 ranking, with a live ranking improved to number 38 following her Italian Open run, required no committee decision, no sponsor pressure, no favor. Imagine being the tournament director at Roland Garros, looking at the entry list and seeing her name there, not because someone vouched for her, but because she outranked enough players to claim the spot herself. That is a different kind of arrival. Put yourself in Elena Rybakina's position in Rome on May 11th, 2026. You are the world number 2. You are a Grand Slam champion. You are expected to dispatch a 20-year-old in the round of 32 with the clinical efficiency your ranking demands. Instead, Rybakina reportedly came off that court having acknowledged that Eala was considerably more difficult to beat than anticipated. The final score, 6-4, 6-3 in Rybakina's favor, reads like a comfortable win. The match reportedly did not feel like one, and crucially, despite the loss, Eala's live ranking climbed. She lost the battle and advanced the war. The pattern that emerges across this clay season is not one of a player struggling with the surface. It is one of a player accelerating. Madrid. She defeated Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in the first round before the Mertens setback. Rome. She dismantled Magdalena Frech 6-0, 3-6, 6-4, then erased Wang Xinyu, an Olympic silver medalist, 6-4, 6-3 before facing the number 2 in the world. 3 clay tournaments, 2 main draw wins in Rome alone. And on every court she walked onto this spring, she walked off it having shown the sport something it had not fully processed yet. The people who have been watching this since before the ranking reflected it, since before the headlines caught up, you already knew this was coming. The stats are only now confirming what you saw in the way she carries herself on a clay court. Chris Evert won Roland Garros 7 times. 7. She did not just compete on that surface, she authored it. Her clay court record is the standard against which women's tennis still measures itself, and her analytical eye as ESPN's lead tennis voice has spent 4 decades separating genuine talent from manufactured hope. On March 27, 2025, after watching Eala's run at a WTA event where she defeated 3 Grand Slam champions, Evert posted on X, "Incredible that Alex Eala still has anything left in her, considering the teen has beaten 3 Grand Slam champs." Read that sentence carefully. Evert did not say impressive. She did not post a generic well done comment. She used the word incredible, and she framed it around Eala's reserves, her stamina, her capacity to keep producing at the highest level after already having done the extraordinary. A 7-time Roland Garros champion was publicly expressing awe at what a teenage Filipina was doing to the sport's most decorated names. That tweet was written in 2025, when Eala was still a teenager ranked inside the top 70. Now Eala is 21, hours away from turning it over, ranked 38 in the world, mentored by the 14-time champion of Evert's own tournament, and stepping into that same draw. The tennis world is not speechless because no one has anything to say. It is speechless because Evert already said it, and the story has only gotten bigger since. Roland Garros 2026 is not just a tournament for Alex Eala. It is the moment where a trend either accelerates into something permanent or stalls into a footnote. Last year, a Filipina in the French Open main draw was a milestone. This year, it is an expectation. And that shift in how the tennis establishment frames her entry is the most significant development in her career that nobody is putting in a headline. Milestones happen once. Expectations are what legacies are built on. Her performance in Paris will directly determine whether she leapfrogs Emma Raducanu in the rankings, a movement that Tennis 365 has already identified as achievable with a competitive run. The prize money implications are equally concrete. Her career earnings of $565,609 could approach or surpass 7 figures with a run to the second week. And the Asian Games in Aichi, Nagoya 2026 are watching this trajectory with institutional interest, because the face of Asian tennis at the next major games is being decided right now in this clay season in these results. Beyond the rankings and the check, the Roland Garros fortnight carries a specific timeline pressure. Wimbledon 2026 opens June 29th, less than 4 weeks after the final in Paris. What Eala does in the next 3 weeks does not just define this clay season, it sets the terms for everything that follows on grass. This was always going to be the year the trajectory either became undeniable or invited reconsideration. The calendar chose her birthday to deliver that verdict. The The Madrid Open told a story that Eala did not try to bury. After defeating Pavlyuchenkova in the first round, she ran into Elise Mertens in the second, and the match exposed genuine fatigue. The clay was heavy, the schedule was compressed, and the version of Eala who walked off that court in Madrid was a player who had pushed her body to a threshold it had not yet learned to ignore. Her response was not to scramble into another tune-up event and hope the rust shook off by itself. She withdrew from the next scheduled tournament, absorbed the rest, and showed up in Rome 10 days later and defeated Wang Xinyu 6-4, 6-3, a player ranked inside the top 30 with an Olympic silver medal in her passport. When she was asked about the Rome results and the bigger picture at the Tennis Channel sit-down, she reflected on playing a good level of tennis and what she still needed to develop against top-tier opponents. Not deflection, not performance. A 20-year-old who had just lost to the world number 2 talking about her game with the clarity of someone who has already moved past the result and into the solution. That is not a quote you manufacture. That is a quote you earn. The birthday, the main draw, Rybakina not finding it easy. Evert using the word incredible over a year ago before any of this week's clay court evidence existed. Nadal, 14 French Open titles, quietly preparing her for his court. A Madrid stumble absorbed, processed, and answered in Rome within 10 days. Alex Eala is not walking into Roland Garros 2026 on sentimentality. She is walking in on ranking points, on documented results, and on the endorsement of the 2 most decorated clay court champions in the history of the sport, one of whom has been calling her incredible since before she cracked the top 40, and the other of whom is in her ear every week at the Academy bearing his name. What the people who have been watching her since before the mainstream arrived have understood for a long time is now settling into the official record one data point at a time. The ranking reflects it. The draw confirms it. The legends validate it. Can she win her opening match at Roland Garros 2026? Or will the birthday slam combination strike twice? Drop your round 1 prediction in the comments right now because her draw could drop at any moment, and the debate starts the second it does. If you have been tracking this story and you want to be in the conversation the moment the bracket is revealed, the moment we know who she faces, what the odds say, and what the clay court analytics suggest, make sure you are subscribed. This channel covers Alex Eala's Roland Garros run from first ball to last point, and the next video goes live the moment that draw is official. Do not find out about it from someone else's comment section. Be here when it happens.